Out of 10, how would you rate your first 80 days in government?
Well, I think we've done a lot of really good stuff so far in terms of what we've been trying to do. We've stabilised the economy, which was the number one thing we had to do and we said we would do. We've lifted the ban on onshore wind in England. We've set up GB Energy and got that into the public processes.
No, you haven't. You don't even know where it's going to be headquartered.
Renationalised. Well, we have. The second reading of the GB Energy Bill went into Parliament before we broke up for the conference recess, and that will get through the parliamentary processes.
Tell me which city it's going to be headquartered
as quickly as can. It's a top priority. Well, you'll find that out very imminently in terms of where it will. But the important thing here is it will be headquartered in Scotland, because Scotland is the powerhouse of renewable energy. GB Energy is one of the key missions of this government, because we want to deliver that clean power by 2030. We want to bring down people's bills permanently. We want to have those jobs of the future and that just transition. These are exciting policies that the government are getting on with delivering as a key priority. And of course, all of the other things are a distraction. They are important to talk about. They are transparently in the public domain. But this is about delivering that permanent change, not just sticking past their politics, but permanent change that gives people that brighter future.
I'll tell you a policy that you've implemented that's not a distraction, that is really meaningful and impactful, is the decision to take the winter fuel allowance away from the vast majority of Britain's pensioners. What kind of a reaction have you had from your constituents to this?
Well, it's a balance in terms of what constituents have been saying to me. Some have been saying they didn't need the winter fuel payment, and the principle of means testing it is the right thing. Some pensioners have been saying that the level of means testing at pension credit is too low. Some people have been very keen on championing the triple lock, which is part of the process and one of the trade-offs. That's given pensioners £900 increase in their pension in April this year, and there'll be £460 in April next year, and £1,700 projected over the course of this Parliament. So we've protected that to make sure that pensioner incomes grow with that triple lock. So it's been a whole array of things in terms of what people have been saying. So the principle of means testing has pretty much been accepted.
But we know that a lot of pensioners are going to be pushed into poverty.
Let me just be clear about this.
Go on.
Well, let's just be clear about this. This is a devolved benefit. The Scottish Government have made exactly the same decision to means test at the pension credit level, despite having more money from the inheritance statement that the Chancellor put to the public 6 weeks ago, where that decision was made. So in a Scottish context, this is devolved. The Scottish Government have made the same decision despite having more money. What we need to work on now is make sure that most people who are not on pension credit, who are entitled to it, get onto pension credit, and encourage all pensioners to at least get that checked, because even if you get £1 of pension credit, it does access a passport to all these other
let me ask you this, though.
That's really important.
You've been given £150 million by the UK government to fight poverty in Scotland, a specific war chest of £150 million. That, coincidentally, by the way, is how much this policy is going to cost in Scotland. I presume, feel free to tell me you are going to do this, I presume you're not going to use that whole £150 million to offset all of that policy. But are you going to use some of that £150 million to help the pensioners who are going to be pushed into poverty because of this?
Martin, the Scotland Office has 4 priorities with me as the Scottish Secretary. It's about growth, it's about green, it's about brand Scotland, and it's about poverty. And that number 4 is the key one that we want to try and achieve. I don't have a £150 million war chest. That was a front page newspaper article that everyone seems to have run with. It was a journalist that made up that figure, not me. My key priority is to get the process of the Scotland Office being a spending department, to get all those structural funds that was in our manifesto together in terms of making sure that the Scotland Office can spend some money that's already been spent in Scotland on that growth, green, brand and poverty, and that's what we'll be targeting on. But I don't have a £150 million war chest, and that was a front page headline from a journalist who made that figure up.
OK, I mean, so it doesn't sound like you're going to do anything as the Scotland Office to specifically offset this policy for people in Scotland. Tell me this.
I can't do anything. I can't do anything, Martin, with a figure you pluck out of the air that's not true. So that's the answer to that question.
All right, OK, fine. You're not going to do anything. You've spent years telling the SNP government in Scotland, don't cut stuff.
No, that's just not, Martin. I don't accept that. I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that. You're just flippantly saying I'm not going to do anything.
My question was, are you going to do anything to offset this policy?
That you've made up. Well, the 4 priorities we've got in the Scotland Office is growth, green, brand Scotland and anti-poverty, and all of those things come together, and that's the priorities I'll be working on. But
so what are you going to do to offset to help the pensioners who are going to be pushed into poverty? I'm not going to spend
money I don't have.
What are you going to do to help the pensioners in Scotland who have been pushed into poverty because of your government?
Well, the three things that we're doing is the triple lock, which guarantees pensioners' income increases them by either wages, inflation, or indeed prices, and that would be done on the basis of whichever is the higher. So that is about doing it now and into the future, protecting those incomes.
That's ongoing.
GB Energy is about getting bills down permanently, and the transfer to renewable power, and that should be done by 2030. So this government is doing a lot to make sure we can fix the fundamentals, so we have a much brighter future for everyone.